Have you ever felt caught in the relentless cycle of struggle? Convinced that fate has dealt you a cruel hand? Imagine living on the fringes of society, battling for every meager morsel, only to find even that precious sustenance mysteriously disappearing. What if a seemingly insignificant encounter could reveal a profound truth about your destiny, compelling you on a quest that would not only transform your own life but unexpectedly touch the lives of others? Unlocking hidden treasures and unforeseen miracles? Today, we journey into a timeless Buddhist parable that transcends the ordinary. A tale of a homeless man whose desperate search for answers leads him to confront not just his own perceived misfortune, but the deeply intertwined destinies of others. This is a story about selflessness, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the astonishing way that true generosity can bring about the most unexpected and abundant rewards. Prepare to witness how compassion, when acted upon, can turn the wheel of fortune in the most astonishing ways, proving that the good you do in the world will inevitably find its way back to you. Chapter 1. A Destiny Questioned, the Mouse's Revelation. Our story begins in a distant land, a place where the daily rhythm of life was a stark contrast to the luxuries we often take for granted. Here lived a 22-year-old boy, who, having tragically lost his parents, bore the weight of existence entirely on his young shoulders. His life was a difficult, solitary struggle, a relentless pursuit of mere survival. Every single day, he worked tirelessly, pouring his meager energy into labor, just to earn enough money to sustain himself. His routine was simple, almost ritualistic in its starkness. He would return home from work, meticulously cook 4 pieces of bread, just enough to survive, eat them, and then, exhausted, fall into a deep sleep. This was his entire world, day in and day out, a cycle of arduous effort and bare subsistence. One day, something peculiar, almost mystical, happened. After carefully making his 4 pieces of bread, he washed his hands, and when he returned, one of the bread pieces was mysteriously missing. He was puzzled, but in his weariness, chose to ignore it. The same strange event occurred the very next day. Determined to uncover the truth, on the 3rd day, he decided to keep a vigilant eye on his precious bread. To his utter surprise, he saw a plump, mischievous little mouse, quick as a flash, stealing one of them. The boy, fueled by frustration born from hunger, swiftly caught the mouse. "Oh, you mouse," he exclaimed, his voice tinged with exasperation and a hint of desperation. "Why are you taking my food? I barely have enough for myself. There are so many rich people in this world. Go steal from them. They won't even notice it." But the mouse, surprisingly, spoke, and its words carried a chilling, almost otherworldly revelation that would irrevocably shatter the man's perception of his own difficult life, forcing him to confront the very nature of his destiny. "Brother," the mouse squeaked, its tiny voice imbued with an uncanny wisdom and an ancient resignation. "Please don't stop me. It's my fate to take one of your breads." The boy sighed, his weariness deepening into a profound sense of injustice. "I don't have much," he replied, his voice heavy with despair. "I work all day and make only 4 pieces of bread to eat. You're taking one away, and I don't know how to manage with less. How can this be my destiny?" Desperate for answers, yearning to understand this cruel twist of fate, he pressed the mouse. "Who told you this? And how can I change it?" The mouse, in its mysterious wisdom, simply replied, "I don't know that. You should try and ask the great Gautam Buddha. Maybe he'll know. He can help you understand your life and show you what to do." The boy, heartbroken by his supposed destiny yet clinging to the fragile thread of hope, thought deeply about the mouse's advice. The very next day, driven by a desperate yearning for truth, he left his humble home and embarked on an arduous, uncertain journey to find the Buddha, the awakened one, hoping to unlock the secrets of his unfortunate fate. Buddhist Insight. This opening segment masterfully establishes the central theme of dukkha, suffering, specifically the suffering of poverty, scarcity, and the perceived injustice of destiny. The man's initial response, blaming an external force, the mouse, then implied fate, reflects common avidya, ignorance, about the true nature of suffering and its origins. The mouse's revelation introduces the concept of karma and destiny, which in Buddhism are not fixed, fatalistic decrees, but rather the consequences of past actions and mental volitions. However, The homeless man's understanding of destiny is still limited and rigid. His subsequent quest to find the Buddha embodies saddha, faith, and viriya, effort, marking the courageous beginning of a spiritual journey driven by the fundamental human yearning for truth and liberation from suffering. The mystical dialogue with the mouse, a seemingly insignificant creature, subtly hints that profound wisdom can emerge from unexpected sources, challenging our conventional notions of knowledge and hierarchy. Chapter 2. A Journey of Encounters, the Unseen Threads of Interconnectedness. The homeless man began his arduous journey to find the Buddha, his hope flickering but persistent. The road was long and tiring, stretching endlessly before him. As night descended, painting the sky with hues of dusk, he found himself, utterly exhausted and sleepy, at the opulent estate of a wealthy family. He decided to seek shelter there for the night, hoping for a moment of respite. He approached the grand, imposing door and humbly knocked. "Good sir," he requested, his voice soft with weariness. "It's getting dark, and I'm new here, a weary traveler. Can I spend the night here, please?" The owner of the mansion, a kind and compassionate woman, surprisingly welcomed him with warmth. "Okay, come on in," she invited, her hospitality extending even to a stranger. As the beggar stepped into the lavish house, the woman asked, "Young man, why and where are you traveling so late? What urgent quest drives you?" "Oh," the homeless man replied, his voice filled with newfound purpose. "I have a profound question for the Buddha, and I'm journeying to meet him, hoping he can shed light on my life and the struggles I face." Just then, the rich man's wife, a woman of grace and sorrow, arrived. Having overheard their conversation, her eyes widened with a fragile flicker of hope. "You are going to a wise man," she exclaimed, her voice trembling slightly. "Could you also ask him a question for me? We have a 16-year-old daughter who has not spoken for 20 years. She has been silent since birth. A constant source of pain for us. Please, I beg you, ask Gautam Buddha when she will finally speak." The homeless man, despite his own urgent quest, agreed, his nascent compassion overriding his personal need. "Oh, okay, I guess I can ask on your behalf," he conceded, now burdened with an extra task. The next morning, the homeless man thanked the kind family for their unexpected shelter and continued his journey. After walking for many hours, his path led him to a formidable obstacle, a tall and snowy mountain range, its peaks disappearing into the clouds. He had no idea how to cross it. Just then, he saw a wise sage meditating near the mountain, radiating an aura of ancient power. He approached the sage and respectfully asked for help. The sage, opening his eyes, readily agreed. "I will help you cross the mountain," he offered, "but I too have a question for the Buddha. I've been meditating here for many years, trying to reach heaven, to transcend this earthly realm. Could you ask Gautam Buddha when I will finally go to heaven? When my spiritual journey will culminate in that ascent?" The boy, now accepting the growing weight of others' burdens, promised to ask. The sage, with a majestic wave of his magic stick, effortlessly transported the boy across the vast mountain range, leaving him on the other side. After some time, the boy reached yet another daunting obstacle, a wide, turbulent river that seemed impossible to cross. Again, he didn't know how to navigate its formidable currents. Luckily, he saw a large, ancient tortoise resting by the riverbank, its shell weathered by centuries. "Can you help me cross the river?" the boy asked the tortoise. His hope renewed. The tortoise, with a slow, knowing smile, agreed. As they were crossing the vast river, the tortoise, sensing the man's spiritual quest, inquired, "Where are you going, young traveler?" "I'm going to meet Gautam Buddha," the boy replied, "and I'm going to ask him a question about my destiny." The tortoise's eyes seemed to twinkle with a deeper understanding. "I've lived in this river for 500 years, it confided, and I've always wanted to become a dragon, to transcend this limited form. Could you ask Gautam Buddha when that will happen for me?" The boy, now carrying 3 profound questions in addition to his own, readily agreed and continued on his journey. Buddhist insight. This sequence of encounters is rich with symbolism, illustrating the fundamental Buddhist concepts of interconnectedness, pratityasamutpada, and the power of karma in action. The homeless man, despite his own immense suffering and desperate need, willingly accepts the burdens, questions, of others. This series of acts of selflessness and nascent compassion, karuna, performed even before he has directly encountered the Buddha's teachings, already begins to subtly shift his own karmic trajectory. Each character he encounters represents a different form of stuckness, or desire, tanha, highlighting the pervasive nature of craving that transcends even human form. The mute daughter symbolizes suffering due to physical limitation and the parent's deep craving for their child's normalcy. This pain is not self-inflicted but part of conditioned existence. The wizard represents profound spiritual striving and attachment to a specific outcome, going to heaven. His 1.000 years of meditation signify long-term spiritual effort that, without ultimate insight or letting go of subtle attachments, might hinder true liberation. The tortoise represents a being in a lower form of existence desiring a higher, more glorious one, but potentially bound by its own attachments, its shell, or lack of understanding. Its 500 years signify immense effort without the desired transformation. These encounters collectively demonstrate that suffering and spiritual striving are universal, not limited to human experience, and that true solutions often require looking beyond conventional understanding and embracing a deeper truth. The homeless man's willingness to help others, despite his own desperate need, is a profound act of dana, generosity, laying the groundwork for the ripening of his own positive karma and unforeseen blessings. Chapter 3. The Buddha's Wisdom, 3 Questions, 4 Answers, and the Power of Selflessness. The homeless man continued his arduous journey, his heart now burdened not just by his own question, but by the weight of 3 solemn promises he had made to others. Finally, after many days of relentless travel, he reached the tranquil monastery where the great Buddha resided. He stood for a moment in front of the monastery, took a deep, resolute breath, and thought, "Oh, here I am, finally meeting the great Buddha." He walked in, his spirit lifted by a mixture of excitement and anticipation, ready to present his questions. As he entered and bowed reverently in front of the Buddha, he said, "Please accept my good wishes. O great Buddha, I have traveled from faraway lands to ask you some questions. May I please?" The Buddha, with his calm and knowing gaze, his eyes reflecting boundless wisdom, replied, "Sure, you can, my friend, but I will answer 3 questions for you only." "Only 3 questions?" The young man was utterly shocked. His heart sank. He had a total of 4 questions, his own, and the 3 he had solemnly promised to others. A profound ethical dilemma, a test of his deepest values, now stood before him. "But I have 4. What do I do? Which one do I leave out?" He was forced to make an agonizing choice. He thought deeply, meticulously weighing each question, the weight of each promise pressing upon him. He thought about the ancient turtle, who had been living for 500 years, tirelessly trying to become a dragon, confined to its shell and the river. What a hard life he must be leading in that deep river. He mused, feeling a pang of genuine sympathy for the creature's long-standing aspiration. Then he thought about the wizard, who had been striving for 1,000 years, unable to reach heaven, caught in an endless cycle of spiritual effort without ultimate liberation. Oh, 1.000 years is a very, very long time, he thought. He truly deserves to go to heaven now. At last, his mind turned to the young girl, a mere child, who was going to live her entire life being unable to speak, her voice trapped in silence, a profound burden for herself and her loving parents. Oh, a life without speaking is truly cruel, he acknowledged, his heart softening with profound compassion. And then, he looked at himself, at his own perceived misfortune. "I'm just a homeless beggar," he thought, "burdened by my 8 items. I can just go back home and continue begging. I am used to it. Nothing will fundamentally change for me. But for them, for the turtle, for the wizard, for the young girl, everything can change. Their entire lives can transform, if they get these crucial answers." As he gazed upon everybody else's profound problems, their long-standing suffering, his own problem of the 8 items suddenly seemed so small, so insignificant in comparison. His personal desire, his own suffering, faded into the background. He felt a deep, overwhelming sense of sorrow and boundless compassion for the turtle, the wizard, and the young girl. And so, in an ultimate act of profound selflessness, a true transcendence of his own ego, he made his choice. He decided to ask all their questions, bravely forsaking his own, choosing the well-being of others over his immediate personal gain. The Buddha, with a gentle, knowing smile, his eyes reflecting perfect understanding, simply nodded. As expected, he answered all three questions, having witnessed the young man's compassionate and selfless choice. For the turtle is unwilling to leave the shell. As long as he is unwilling to leave the comfort of his shell, he will never become a dragon. For the wizard always carries his staff and never puts it down. It acts as an anchor, keeping him from heaven. As for the girl, she'll be able to speak when she meets her soulmate. Thank you, O great Buddha, the homeless man said, bowing deeply, his heart filled with a quiet joy, carrying the precious answers back. Buddhist insight. This is the absolute pivotal moment of the story, highlighting the transformative power of selflessness, anatta, and compassion, karuna. The Buddha's seemingly arbitrary limit of 3 questions is a masterful, skillful means, upaya, designed not to restrict, but to force the homeless man into a profound ethical dilemma, thereby revealing his true nature and catalyzing his spiritual growth. By choosing to prioritize the suffering of others over his own immediate concerns, the homeless man performs an act of profound dana, generosity, transcending his own ego-driven desires and accumulating immense positive karma. His own problem becoming small in comparison reflects a significant shift in right view, samadhi, seeing the interconnectedness of suffering and the importance of collective well-being over individual gain. The Buddha's answers, though simple, are deeply symbolic. The turtle's shell represents attachment to comfort zones, old habits, or perceived security that prevents growth and transformation. True evolution requires letting go of what is familiar but limiting. The wizard's staff symbolizes attachment to methods, practices, or even spiritual achievements themselves, which can become a burden or an anchor if not let go of at the right time. True liberation requires letting go of all attachments, even to the path itself. The mute girl's soulmate suggests that some conditions resolve through unexpected, seemingly external connections or the natural ripening of karma, often when one ceases to strive for a specific outcome and instead acts with pure intention. This speaks to the wisdom of acceptance and trusting the flow of life. Chapter 4. The Journey Home, the Unfolding of Blessings and the Ripple Effect of Compassion. The homeless man, his heart now lighter and filled with a quiet, profound joy, began his long journey back home, carrying not just the answers, but the invisible blessings of his selfless act. He reunited with the ancient turtle by the river. "Did you ask?" the turtle eagerly inquired, its eyes filled with anticipation. "Oh yes," the homeless man replied, relaying the Buddha's words, "You just have to take off your shell, and then you become a dragon." The turtle, with an incredible act of faith and understanding, then shed its massive, ancient shell, and inside the discarded shell were countless priceless pearls, glowing with an otherworldly luster, treasures found only in the deepest, most inaccessible parts of the ocean. The now transformed turtle immediately transformed into a magnificent dragon, its scales shimmering brilliantly. The newly ascended dragon gave all the glittering gems to the homeless man. "Here, you have them," it boomed, its voice now resonant with power. "It's my thank you. I no longer need this because I'm now a dragon." With a final, majestic roar, the dragon ascended gracefully into the sky, soaring into the heavens. "Thank you, kind man," it echoed from above. The homeless man continued his journey, now carrying not only the profound wisdom but also the immense, unexpected wealth from the dragon's pearls. He soon reunited with the wizard on top of a lonely mountain. "You just have to put down your staff, and you'll be able to go to heaven." The homeless man relayed the Buddha's clear message. "Really?" the wizard gasped, astonished, his eyes wide with disbelief and dawning hope. "That's what Buddha said," the man affirmed gently. So the wizard, trusting the Buddha's wisdom and the